So today's topic what we are going to discuss is the abolition of the Zamindari system. How was the system earlier? See, at the time of independence, the Indians, let us study about the rural India. As soon as we got independence in 1947, how was the real phase of the Indian families or the farmers? So the situation is that we have 18.6 crore people, which is nearly 55% of them don't own even a single stretch of land, which means like most of the land was owned either by the zamindars or by the intermediaries. As the time passed on, the government realized that in order to give a strong hold to the agriculture and to encourage the farmers, we should redistribute the lands. The land laws should be redevised in such a way that the poor and the farmers can get acknowledged towards the lands. Now the issue is, as they were not educated at all at that point of time, they don't have any other possible alternative jobs other than doing farming or working as an agricultural laborers. So it is the call for the nation to take some sincere steps to make sure the most of the families who are thoroughly dependent on agriculture should get a piece of land of their own or can be occupying the lands which are owned by the zamindars or the landlords. So the zamindari system was cancelled. When did this call really come up? The government of India, as soon as the new independent nation was formed, realized the fact that most of the Indians are highly uneducated. Their education could not fetch them a very valuable job for which they can get a high amount paid for them. So the best alternative what they have is to move to the farming of agriculture or work as labor in the fields of agriculture under any rich person or a zamindar who owns the lands. As the time passed on, if you see seriously against the Britishers never seriously concentrated on the policy of agriculture or to get benefit for the agricultural farmers. They tried most of the time to get the knowledge or to understand the facts of agriculture by concentration on the which crops are useful for us. I mean like which are useful for them in the Britain, which would get profit for them when they sell it in the abroad market. These are the key concepts where the Britishers have concentrated seriously. But as the time passed on and we achieved independence, the real phase came out. We need a serious concentration towards the labor. The lands are owned by most of the people who are highly influential in the British government, who used to pay tax for them. So government started to take the lands from the zamindars in order to ensure that it is given redistributed for the poor people. They decided to sell the lands, I mean like to buy the lands from the zamindars whose income was like, suppose if it is 10,000 per year, they are ready to pay 30 to 40 times extra than that and purchase the lands and redistribute them for the poor. Like most of them will get the benefit. Most of the poor people can turn into a real farmers who own a piece of land. In this way, they started to think on the policies of how to develop the nation and end this poverty or the poor condition of the farmers. And also we got the slogan rising by this time, the land to the tiller. A person who is working on the land should be given like the real owner of the land is a person who is tilling the land, who is doing hard work on the land. So this initiative was growing up day by day. So let us see, how did the zamindar system was abolished? Is it really abolished or it was stopped on one name and did it continue in the other names? Let's find out. So now let us focus our shift like how did the zamindar system come to end and how did the government try to ban all the intermediary tenures which are present from the Britishers' time to the present day. as soon as we achieved independence, in order to eradicate the poverty, the government has realized that if we don't hand over the lands to the poor and poor does not get a land, we can't eradicate the poverty. So in order to eradicate poverty and reduce the poor condition and make him better, so we need to hand over certain lands to them so that they become the owners and farmers. They can cultivate in their own land, which can end poverty as well as the poorness of the farmers. So in order to bring this and to ensure these kind of things, the government has passed in 1950 banning the Zamindari system. The Zamindari system is one of the systems which was introduced by the Britishers, which collects, these zamindars which collect tax from the farmers directly, and they in turn pay tax to the Britishers. It's like they act as an intermediary between the British people and the farmers. They are linked between them. They collect tax and they pay to them. They have to pay certain amount as tax. They can collect more tax from them or less tax, but the fixed tax should be paid to the British government. As the time passed on, the people, those who are not able to pay tax to the zamindars, obviously the land will be taken over by the zamindar and he in turn pays the tax. Like this, many of them have lost their lands to the zamindars. Zamindars in turn turned to be owning large amount of lands like 100 acres, 200 acres. In this way, they turned to be more and more powerful, and Britishers were very happy because they are paying the tax for them. So as the time passed on, zamindars turned to be a very powerful, power key owners. Like they started to determine the actions of the Britishers. They